countries have different alternatives and different sources of energy, including renewables, have limitations and advantages. It's as simple as that. So, to adorn this with ideological overtones is simply wrong. It takes us away from the objective we want to reach.
So we had a very, very severe nuclear accident in Fukushima back in 2011. And the accident was very, very severe, and the impact of the accident is also very large, not only in Japan, but also in the rest of the world. And some countries stopped the nuclear development after the accident. I'd like to express my apologies for all the distress and then concerns caused by the accident to you all.
The revival of the nuclear sector. First in France, in February 2022, the French President Macron in Belfort announced the build of 6 new nuclear power plants, new EPR2, and with 8 more possible to come. And also he announced the lifetime extension of the existing fleet and an innovative program for small modular reactors and advanced modular reactors. And so this Belfort speech has marked the beginning of a new era for nuclear in France. Before that, in October 2021, France also set up a plan named France 2030 to reindustrialize France with a particular funding for SMR, new word led by EDF, and innovative nuclear reactors, advanced modular reactors. Secondly, as DG Grossi said, in November 2023, the COP28 highlighted the importance of the nuclear energy in the energy transition. So it was very good news for us. And thirdly, in November 2023 also, the World Nuclear Exhibition organized in Paris, near Paris, was the biggest edition ever organized in terms of participants from all the world, showing the growing interest on the nuclear sector.
So there was like a dispersion of political positions. Where countries like China that were very clear and were not changing. Japan was at a crossroads, and there was a direction and a return, but it was like a dispersion. And we felt from the IAEA that we had to capture this mood, and we had to shape it into something that would be coherent. What are the things that leadership and the societies need to embrace fully nuclear? What are these issues that must be addressed? And of course, people talk about safety, and we can discuss that. What are the problems there, the problems here or there, the waste or the operation. You were referring about the new technology, the big improvement in safety. In some other cases, it's a matter of public perception as well. We are seeing how there is a generational change, which is quite interesting to see. Young people are very favorable in general to nuclear energy. And what we see is that those having expressed more doubts perhaps belong more to my generation or your generation than the new generations that are not carrying this baggage of doubts and sometimes ideological issues. It is interesting to see that it took 70 years of commercial nuclear operation to have a summit. There are still challenges ahead of us, and nothing is guaranteed, because if we fail to address and to give the right answers, to some of the issues, perhaps preventing nuclear to flourish in the way we want, we will still have nuclear, but we will not have the nuclear we need. And this is this gap. We know that nuclear is going to continue, but we also know that we need more nuclear. Are we going to get it, yes or no? This is the question.
I think Japan is one of the countries that have experienced dramatic change of the public attitude toward nuclear power. Because it's been 13 years since the Fukushima accident, and then, well, people are very, very negative toward nuclear power, and then mass media had been really, really harsh on nuclear power. So that it was really bad. TEPCO and then I myself were such a villain of the society. But I was very much surprised to see that the result of the public opinion poll, which took place a year and a half ago, the end of 2022. The question was that should the nuclear power plants that have passed safety review from the Nuclear Regulatory Authority be restarted? This is the question. And 58% of the respondents said it should be restarted. I was honestly very surprised, because this question had been asked, exactly the same question had been asked for many, many times for over the years after the accident. And the average answer, positive answer, is something like 20 to 25%. But it suddenly changed to up to 58%. This is thought to be the public reaction, reacting to the energy security, which just brought by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And then people are very much scared of the stable supply of electricity in Japan, and then price of the electric power just, jumped up. That's why the people changed dramatically. And then also, as Director General said, that we can analyze, generation by generation, and then younger people have more positive answer. It's the same. But the one thing that I talked with John before this session was that since the younger people have been watching these mass media, TV news, and papers, bashing nuclear power and TEPCO, young people, this is a big problem for us, that the young people turn away from nuclear power. And then they are not studying nuclear engineering anymore. And then even in many very good Japanese university, they didn't name nuclear energy and nuclear engineering department anymore. Still they teach, that's good. But the name of that class is something like something, it doesn't say nuclear. But so this is a big problem, because it's been 13 years. In TEPCO, 1/3 of the people changed and then retired, and a new 1/3 don't know anything about the accident. So we have to keep this new people to take responsibility of the future of the nuclear power. We have to solved the nuclear waste problem, and there are many challenges ahead. So that's one thing that I'm very much concerned. Although the public opinion changed dramatically to the good side.
I wonder, it just makes me think that, in the spirit of nuclear, really crossing borders and things like that, and understanding that young people in other parts of the world are very much a driver of nuclear, perhaps?
The nuclear power is very important to China, because China has a lot of coal-fired stations, and our fossil power station in the 10 years before is more than 74%. Now we have already decreased the fossil power station account for about less than 47%, and solar power, wind power, and hydropower plus nuclear power have already occupied more than 50% our capacity. That is a very great contribution. So China's government insists to develop nuclear power in our national plan as our national strategy. In the future, we will continue to develop nuclear power. Every year, maybe there are 8 to 10 units at 1,000 megawatt classes will approved by the government. That is our policy, and China is committed to active, safe, and orderly development of nuclear power. So in the future, if no nuclear power, it is very difficult for China to get to the carbon peak or neutrality. And our goal is by the 2030 we get to the carbon peak, and by 2060 we must get to the carbon neutrality. That's a very big challenge to China. So we must develop nuclear power. By our plan is by the 2030, China will construct about 150 gigawatt nuclear. That is will put into operation. And by 2060, we must at least construction about 400 gigawatts. But the Chinese energy capacity is very big. Now we have already get to 2.9 billion kilowatt. That is China's total capacity. The nuclear is now only count for 2% capacity. And but its generation, nuclear electric generation is count for only 4.7 percentage. It's very low now. So we have a big challenge now. In China, the government and the public can accept nuclear. Even in the Fukushima accident, government, we have 3 years no any new project were approved. But after that, from 2015 or 14, we began to approve our new project. Until now, every year, more than 8 units were approved. That's very important. So China government insists to develop nuclear power. We have already put into cooperation. We have 1,000 megawatt classes nuclear power station have already put into operation, and 36 units under construction. The total installed capacity have already reached to more or less about American, I think. And also the under construction capacity have been ranking first for many years in the world. So I think China will continue to insist developing.
We need to massively train and recruit for the coming years. And for example, in France, forecasts show a need to attract and recruit 10,000 people per year. Actually, we are at 3,000 people per year. So we have to recruit 10,000 people per year during 10 years and perhaps after that.
In the nuclear sector, we are in a bit of a soul search ourselves. And some of what you were saying indicates that we are looking at what we have, which is going to be perhaps extended, prolonged, and long-term operation is a very, very important part of that, because we are simply not going to do away with what we had. Perhaps that is one lesson.
Yes, yeah.
That is interesting, having the ability to look thoroughly at the infrastructure that you have, learning from mistakes. I think Fukushima, of course, was a pivotal moment. After Fukushima, there was a big nuclear safety action plan adopted by the IAEA. I remember China decided to move around. So in Europe, we had the stress tests. So for all the criticism that may be there, I think we should take some pride in seeing how there was this introspective look at what the industry had to do in order not only to survive in a corporate sense, to just to be there, but to continue to be a logical part of the energy mix in the world. So that led us to a difficult time where many innovations, many reinforcements in terms of safety were necessary, and they were adopted. And they were not only adopted, but there was a quite interesting international discussion about that. Coming back to this issue of us having a forum where we really put cards on the table and look at what needs to be done. So perhaps that could be something that, without any arrogance, the nuclear sector could share with others. Well, we were confronted with something talking about existential challenges, could have been one. Some people were saying, is this the swan song of nuclear energy? Well, Chernobyl wasn't, but this one is going to be. Well, it wasn't. But why wasn't it? And of course it was difficult. You have generously and courageously shared with us your own personal experience, taking on your shoulders personally sometimes the burden of this public dissatisfaction. But there was a very serious look into that. There were very, very serious and thorough changes in terms of technology. This evolution into modularity, which we are on the verge of seeing materialize. We have in China already, we have SMRs that are operating, but we have other designs. We know about Newark, we know about the American designs in Canada as well, in Argentina. In many countries, SMRs are being developed as a way also to look into, and this is perhaps another, to look into what kind of service are we supposed to be giving. And this new nuclear that we are seeing is, in a certain sense, an answer to that. We are looking at, for example, grid vulnerability. When it comes to grid vulnerability, then the appearance of AMRs, SMRs is an interesting solution. Remote places, developing countries, not having the robust grid that is required to support big nuclear. So that is another. Another one, which is one of the most interesting discussions that we are starting to have. We are working at the moment at the IAEA. I have opened channels of communication with big IT firms, AI, Microsoft, Google. We are talking to them and working with them because they know, and in China is the same, that we are in an economy which is driven by information. And we know that data centers by themselves are so energy hungry, voracious, I would say, that have the capacity to destabilize a grid. And this is where nuclear for purpose is coming to be, where you don't have general criterion energy, but you are starting to have this sort of tailor-made when companies are thinking, well, I'm going to be having this amount of data center demand. How am I going to go about it?
I believe that the most realistic and the most effective way to cope with global warming is promotion of electrification on the demand side.
Mhm.
And so that the electric power demand increase. Data centers are building all over. And then according to, this is interesting, according to IAEA, when we asked one question on ChatGPT consumed 2.9 watt hours to answer to your question. But this is 10 times more than conventional Google search. 45% of the energy consumption, electric power consumption for data center are used for air conditioning. And 30% for the data processing. So in order to find the best energy sources to provide this kind of the pattern of the energy, electric power consumption, after all, nuclear.
CNCC developed nuclear power in the 1970 years. We start from our 300 megawatt PWR with the self-designed reactor. But actually, the Chinese nuclear power developed from France. France recuperated from the Daya-Bay nuclear power station and developed a lot of French technology, and the performance of Daya-Bay and later on the reactor's operation constructed very well and help us to develop ourselves technology, Hualong HPR, Hualong 1,000 megawatt technology, third generation, is designed by ourselves. It's based on the cooperation with French, American people from EPR, AP 1000, also the Japanese. Many of the equipment manufacturers take part in our supply chain. That is cooperation. I think if the world nuclear energy community want to accelerate the development of nuclear power, we must cooperate together. Cooperate together is very important. That is our experience. Because we have experience from French, from America, from Canada, we also have heavy water reactor. We research heavy water, 700 megawatt. Now the 2 units is also operation very well. And the steam generator is from Japan. So we have a very good cooperation with all the countries who were very advanced in nuclear area. In this way, China have this capability to construction. Now we have the capacity of building nuclear power station at the same time as 40 units. More than 40 units, we also can. In the peak time, at about 2019, 2020, 2010 or more or less, in the same time, CNC construction about 44 units at the same time. So I pay more attention about the cooperation. If the scientific blockade, decoupling, and supply chain disruption will never serve the development of nuclear power all over the world. So the technology and industry revolution evolves. The nuclear industry all over the world should more than ever to deepen exchange and communication and work together. China, since it's open to the world, we had during the recent time during the nuclear industry China exhibition, we have already declared to open our 10 facility to the world, like how the research reactor device, many type of research, the rockets, accelerators, and so on. We are open to even the fusion studies about the tokamak device. We have HL1, 2, 3. So that is open to the world.
This is certainly not a new development. What is new is that these people are looking to nuclear. This is what is new. It hasn't been new to know that this energy demand was going to be there. What we see them is wanting to engage. As I was telling you, we brought them to the Nuclear Energy Summit. They want more, they want to explore possibilities. So this is one thing which I believe it's important. The policy aspects are important, and you were referring at the beginning of the conversation of the very heated debates you had in Europe about something that do influence how things happen out there. Because with structures that were limiting statutorily the ability for people to take debt, to access to credit, to have tax incentives, to have contracts for difference, to have all of these tools that are there, and rightly so, for renewables, but were not available for nuclear. Well, that is a policy-oriented tilting of the,
yes.
the discussion. If you are simply facilitating one side on the basis of a certain vision or an idea, well then perhaps you are not, or there is a risk that you might be making a mistake. I think that was avoided, but just for those who were following, it was amazing to see how difficult it was to do this. But as we know, in politics, 2 + 2 is not necessarily 4. So we have to factor in this element of uncertainty, the element of the public opinion, sometimes with a favorable surprise. We were saying, I mean, the figures were saying no, and all of a sudden people start to warm to nuclear energy. So I believe that we have to have the ability to foster and to have a pH which is favorable to this, not believing, that there is going to be some magic hand in the intellectual Western culture of the market ordering things. No, there are many things that can happen and can influence things in a direction or another. So I believe it's our collective responsibility here, from different perspectives, from different regions, to make sure that we open the possibilities for the sectors that are going to be providing the right answers. Yeah. Without it, and on this, the IAEA is very, I would say, free to speak, because we don't have any commercial interest in this. We just want this to happen in a safe, in a secure way, in a way that does good rather than bad. So, but we have to be aware that the promise that is there, and we are seeing it, is there, but it might not happen if we don't take the right decisions, if we don't open the doors that must be open, if we don't adapt our regulatory approaches and culture, if we don't open up the financial capacities. Because, of course, I'm very happy to be here with representatives of three big powerhouses in the world, great powers, China, Japan, France. What about the developing world? What about the emerging South? Where is it in this debate? We shouldn't forget about this. And in this, as we know, in the global South, we have pretty big economies, some others that are medium-sized, but are also going to be part of this debate. And they need some facilitation, the same facilitation that has allowed them to do renewables, for example, or other sources of energy in the past. So yes, promise, yes, anticipation, yes, but we have to be clear-sighted and we have to have the wisdom and the political, I would say, will to tackle the necessary debates and take the necessary decisions. Otherwise, it will, stay as a promise that never was.